The other day I got contacted by one of the best action stars working in the business today. You've seen him. Not maybe not everybody knows his name, but you've seen him, and a lot of you guys who are cinephiles, Scott Adkins. And he's got a new movie coming out, Agent Man or Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday, that's coming out. And so a little bit earlier today, me and Scott, we jumped on. He's in the UK right now, but we sat down and had a conversation online today to talk about this new movie of his that I had the opportunity to watch. And this is our conversation. Check it out. Scott, first of all, congratulations on this film. It's exactly what I kind of wanted it to be the moment I sat down to watch. I'm thinking, I want just a fun, grin ear to ear, kind of bonkers action film, and it delivered on so many different levels in this. I'll talk to you in a minute about the different influences I kind of felt that I recognized and I just loved about it. But for our audience who doesn't know a lot about Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday, how would you describe the film to somebody?
Well, it's a zany, very British sense of humor, Hong Kong influenced martial arts action comedy. It's kind of like John Wick meets Deadpool meets Monty Python. That's how I'll describe it. How about that?
That's good. And I had a friend of mine ask me, who I was telling about the film, and they said, this is a part of a franchise? And I'm like, yeah. They said, do I have to go back and watch the first one to watch this? And I said, I don't think so. The way it feels like you guys set this movie up, it feels like this could be a perfect entry point into the franchise for anybody to just step in and watch it, because you set up the characters in such a way that it never felt like you had to know what happened previously in order to watch this. And was that a deliberate decision that you guys made?
Yeah, absolutely deliberate, because we're not sure, if everyone's seen the first one, to be honest. So we didn't want that to be a stumbling block. You get enough information about the first film that you need, but you don't need all that information because he's on to a new chapter. Right. All you need to know is that the accident man kills people and he makes it look like an accident, and that this is a new adventure for him. And yeah, you don't need to see the first film, but I absolutely recommend that you do.
You and I were talking off camera before we started here that one of the things I loved watching this film, and when I'm watching a new film, I love this when it happens. I felt so many influences of different films and styles and genres that I love. Everything from I felt like the homage to the great martial arts epics like Shokasagi films. I felt like the Seven Deadly X's from Scott Pilgrim. I felt the Peter Sellers Pink Panther Kato stuff in there. I felt like the bonkersness and the franticness of a Crank franchise. Like when you were sitting down and coming up with this story, because you also kind of came up with the story for this whole thing. Were those? What was it you were kind of trying to target in your head when you were putting this all down and knowing what kind of movie you wanted to make here?
Well, what it was, John, is when I was 14 years old, I stumbled across the comic book in England, and I got this comic book and I thought it was a great comic book, and I kept it for all these years expecting somebody to make it into a movie, but nobody ever did. So when I started getting into the film business, I thought, right, I'm going to see if I can option that property. Luckily for me, it was available at the time, but I've since found out that a big time producer optioned it for a while and he just couldn't get it made for whatever reason. Lucky for me, I got that done. We shot the first film. I wrote it myself with a friend from school. We got Sony to make it. And here we are. I'm 46 now, knowing that I got that comic book when I was 14. And we're talking about the sequel. So, that is great. The fact that I'm Mike Fallon now, this is like my dream project. And I've forgotten your question now. I've just gone off on a rant, but it's a very personal project for me, of course, because it's something that I dreamt about from when I was a teenager.
We got to talk about one of the things that I recognized instantly and that I loved about this. This is an action film. And what I loved about this was that, Accident Man is coming across, has to face a lot of different types of assassins that he fights. And each one of them are like these their own vivid, larger than life characters in and of themselves. And what I started to realize as I was watching the different fights is that not only is this incredible fight choreography and the action is top notch, but it felt like the style of fight varied from assassin to assassin that you fought in the film, and that gave each one of the fights their own very unique flavor and style. What was like the fight choreography and putting the action together? Because it's exhausting. It's so much action in this. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was exhausting, absolutely. Making this film on a 22-day shoot. I mean, I was constantly fighting somebody or other. But yeah, every fight does have a different style because we've got very different characters, and we, would stick to the brief of who that character was and how they should fight and what sort of martial art they should use. But also, we had a lot of different fight coordinators on this, and that probably helped. It was just a bit of a mixed bag of people that we were getting in, yeah. And then Andy Long, the guy that I fight at the end, he actually choreographed that fight and the fight with Suling and Silas. And then we had Tim Mann, who did the first movie, and he did a little bit of previs and then went and did another film. So, it was a bit of a mixed bag with the choreographers. And I did more choreography on this film than I've done on any other movie that I've ever done. And the directors, they understand, because George Kirby is a stuntman, and I actually met him on Doctor Strange because he was doubling Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, wow.
That's how we got to know each other. And him and his brother, they understand the action from a very deep level, and the camera work is great and it's fun. And that last fight is very Hong Kong inspired. And I think as far as martial arts films go, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better one in 2022.
I completely agree. And here's the funny thing too, is that in the midst of all this incredible, and I think this is going to be the best fight choreography people see in 2022. But on top, with all that going on, and as much as I was soaking all that in, I think my favorite scenes in the movie were quieter conversation, particularly that first one between you and Ray. When you walk into the pub there and that exchange that the two of you guys have, I was like riveted to that. It got me invested in the characters more and what was moving on with that. You've worked with Ray before, but what was that like for you working with him on this again?
Well, exactly. When we wrote the first film, we said, right, we're going to write this big Ray character as well as we can, give him some real good meaty dialogue, because we wanted to attract an actor with the sort of gravitas that Ray Stevenson has got. And so we were so happy when we got him for the first one. So when he comes back into this movie, first of all, if you've got any exposition, you better get Ray Stevenson to deliver it, because he's going to do it like a pro. But also, he's just such an amazing actor. And that scene, it's quite tense and it takes different shape, and there's lots of history with the characters. And, it's Ray Stevenson, so it's going to be good.
I got one more question for you, because, there is so much action in this movie, and it all centers around you. And I've talked to performers before who've had like action set pieces in a movie that had like one or two, maybe three action set pieces in a movie. And they've often talked about legitimately how exhausting of a process that is. And that's for movies that are like shot, over like a 4-month period or something like that. There is so much action in this. You have this kinetic movement always going on. Physically, for you, what was it like making this film with so much action and the shooting schedule that you had?
It's exhausting. Yeah. It seemed like a good idea when I was 10. Turns out it's really difficult work. I keep, all I ever do is action movies, but I love the genre. I know I'm good at it. I know I've got a big fan base that expect that from me, and I don't want to let them down. Sometimes it's, I want to give a great acting performance as well, and I want the story to be great. And we're trying to get everything to be great and, have your cake and eat it. But sometimes I'm there as an actor and I've got to do a dramatic scene and I want more takes because I really want to crack it from a dramatic level. But then there's the other side of me that's like, no, we've got to stop the acting now because we've only got half the day to do this fight scene, and I want that to kick ass as well. So it's this constant struggle that I've got. And I just do my best to, give us enough time to make the action great, but also to concentrate on the drama and make sure you deliver as an actor. And with the story, of course, that's very important. But it's not easy, especially on a low budget and not enough shooting days, but somehow we managed to do it most of the time.
Well, Scott, when it comes to those combinations, I don't know that anybody in the business does it better than you right now. Congratulations on the film. I had a lot of fun watching this. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this thing. So let me just ask you to put on your salesman hat for just 1 second and tell our audience why they need to take some time here and watch Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday.
Well, all I've got to say, John, is I've been watching you for many years. I really appreciate what you do, and I take your advice on all the movies that I go to watch. So if you're giving it the thumbs up, I think that's all we need from John Campea. But no, it's an action martial arts comedy with a very British sensibility. And I think it's good. People need to check it out.
All right, Scott, thanks so much for everything. Congratulations on the film. We can't wait for people to watch it.
Thanks, John.
All right, simply probably the best action guy you can have in a movie these days, and this is a fun movie. I mentioned it in the interview, but it's like it's got that frantic pace of Crank. It's got like the Seven Evil X's feel of Scott Pilgrim. It's definitely got some Peter Sellers Pink Panther Kato stuff in it. It's a fun little movie. Him and Ray Stevenson are great. And, you know, when Scott wrote to me this week, hey, can we talk about this new movie? I'm like, absolutely, yes. I've been wanting to talk to him for a long time. So that was great. Guys, check it out. Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday. Go and check it out. It becomes available today, as a matter of fact.
All right.
We want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Now, guys, you know I love Manscaped. You've heard me go on and on about the Lawnmower 4.0 and that body wash. I love it so much. And so we got to ask, guys, have you started your spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing, gentlemen. And you guys know Manscaped is more than just one product. They have a whole lineup of products to help you guys feeling, smelling, and looking your best. And so Manscaped is proud to present to you the Performance Package 4.0, which is the only tool that you need to keep your boys looking, smelling, and feeling good this spring. Now, to start off with, you get the Lawnmower 4.0. Guys, we have talked about this. What is wrong with us? Why have we for so long been using these terrible tools that were never meant for cutting our hair down there? The razor clipper things on our electric razors. That's barbaric, guys. You need the Lawnmower 4.0. And then there's the Weed Whacker. You guys have heard our own Ray Ora talk about this thing. He loves using it to get that hair in your nose and the ear hair. And then they offer lots of other stuff like the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. The Crop Reviver. It's a spray-on toner for your balls. And of course, they've got the perfect grooming tool for your face with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on that face. So guys, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA. That's CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Campea at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life.